So you may not know this about me, but I'm actually a big fan of the goth genre of music. I may not exactly dress the part, but I have a tremendous love for the culture surrounding it, the music itself. I listen to it a lot. I found out that there actually is a 3-day long goth music festival and convention here in New Jersey. It's called Dark Force Fest. There's going to be 35 different bands playing, events, panels, all kinds of cool stuff. So I had to come check it out. I'm going to bring you along with me. So let's have fun at Dark Force Fest. Alright, so this was my first time trying to make a vlog for a big event like this one, and it didn't quite come together the way I wanted it to because there's just so much happening, so much going on. It's kind of impossible to capture it all. It's 3 days of vendors, panels, events. Bands are playing all day long. I tried to see as many of them as possible. YouTube is not going to like it if I put their songs in the video, so I will be showing you the visual of the band and sort of telling you my thoughts on them. I strongly urge you to take the time to listen to the music of the artists featured in this video. They're all amazing, they're tremendously hard workers, it's a tough industry, and these are some incredible people making this music. So be sure to check out their music and give them your support. Alrighty, so let's get into some of these bands that I saw on the first night. The first band I saw was called Biomechanimal. This was some good, heavy headbanging music. At one point, the singer was climbing up on the speakers and just headbanging and hyping up the crowd. It was really cool, really good time. So I want to explain how this event was set up. You have the main stage in the grand ballroom, and then you have a smaller stage in a smaller room that was just on the other side of the hallway. And the band's sets were scheduled to go back to back with no gaps in between, and unfortunately there were delays in the schedule, so band sets were playing overlapping one another, so it was just impossible to see each band in their full set. So I stayed for Biomechanimal's full set, and I stepped into the next room to find that the next band had already been on stage and I had missed almost their entire set, and I caught their last 2 songs. This is a band called The Long Losts, and they play gothic rock with a Halloween horror movie vibe to it. Their songs are about things like ghosts and haunted houses, and they even have a song about wanting to be like Lily Munster. If you're the sort of person who thinks it's Halloween every day, I think you would really appreciate The Long Losts. And like I said, I was only able to catch the end of their set, so I was very disappointed about that, and it made me realize that I kind of needed to start planning on what I really wanted to see and do, and prioritize those things, because it's impossible to do everything at this event. Next up is a group known as Third Realm, and they're sort of an industrial dark wave band, and they were really good, just a really solid sound. The singer was great. And he's up there, he has I think contacts in his eyes, he's really creepy looking. It was really cool, really good band, Third Realm. Next up is a band that I have become a really big fan of. Their name is Nite, spelled N-I-T-E. And although they may look like they're twin brothers, they're actually just good friends who happen to look very similar to each other. Their music is amazing, they're just incredible performers. You can just see that they have that rock star energy, they have the charisma, the moves, they can play their instruments incredibly well. It was just a really enjoyable set. I had so much fun seeing them. And although their music is often categorized as Gothic, I think it's very accessible to most people. If you're intimidated by the idea of goth music, or if you're looking to get into it and looking for a place to start, I think most people would really enjoy Nite's music. And so after Nite finished their set and they turned the lights on in the room, I noticed I had been standing next to the members of the band Vision Video for the whole set. They're a band that I'm a big fan of, and they played on the second night, and I got to meet them. They were super nice. I got my picture taken with Dusty, the front man, who's often referred to as Goth Dad, and that was just a really cool experience being able to meet them. Back in the grand ballroom, we had Aria from Vancouver, Canada. And this was sort of industrial-style dance music with a pop star-like performance. She was just an incredible performer, she just had amazing energy up on the stage, she had the crowd going wild, everybody was moving, dancing, just good stuff. This is a band known as Ego Likeness, and they're an industrial rock band with some powerful atmospheric vocals. They had a really heavy guitar-driven sound, and I thought it was sort of reminiscent of 90s style alternative rock. So if you like that, I think you would really enjoy Ego Likeness. This is an electronic duo from Holland known as Angels and Agony. I wasn't really sure what to expect from them, but they really surprised me. They sang in deep baritone voices over an electronic track, and their music was very inspiring and uplifting, just very positive lyrics. It's the type of music that would make you feel happy if you were feeling really upset or depressed. You could see that they were just very passionate about the music they were performing, and it really came across to the crowd. Just a very refreshing performance. I really enjoyed it, and I think I will be listening to more Angels in Agony in the future. Next up, we have the classic industrial artist known as Leather Strip. He's up there just screaming into the mic, and there's sort of like a harsh effect on his vocals. It had the energy of like a hip-hop MC, even though it was like a totally different genre of music. And he performed a cover version of the song Sex Dwarf by the band Soft Cell. And it was just a really hyped up performance. He's up there working the crowd, and he had everybody going crazy. It was really awesome. And finishing up the night was another classic industrial artist, Nitzer Ebb. They're a classic group. They've been around since the 80s, and I was really looking forward to seeing them. It was just a loud, bassy, industrial beat that had my ears ringing by the end of the night. And the vocals aren't singing as much as they are just like a rhythmic chant, and it all just sort of builds together into this like loud, thumping, driving force. Nitzer Ebb was truly amazing. The first night of Dark Force Fest, I saw some amazing music, some incredible artists. Nitzer Ebb, they blew out my eardrums. I think it's like 1 o'clock at night. I'm gonna have to head home and rest up for tomorrow. I got to meet Goth Dad. That was awesome. Looking forward to seeing Vision Video play tomorrow night, and a whole bunch of other bands, and there's gonna be another night after that. So let's keep going with Dark Force Fest. Alrighty, I am back for day 2 of Dark Force Fest. Got home pretty late last night, didn't get a lot of sleep, but I'm awake, I'm alive. I just ate a pork roll and cheese on a bagel, so I'm ready for day 2. It's gonna be a lot more fun. Let's go. Alrighty, so let's jump right into the artists that I saw on day 2 of Dark Force Fest. First one of the day was a band known as Alice, and that's spelled with the number 1 instead of the I. And this band was just so cool. They have 2 lead vocalists, and they have some sort of science fiction fantasy concept. They looked like futuristic wizards or something like that. I'd be really interested in finding out if there's like a backstory or lore behind the whole concept of the band. And their music was great. They performed a cover version of Army of Me by Bjork, which is one of my favorite songs, and I thought it was just very appropriate for the overall vibe of the band. And they just put on this choreographed performance with dance moves, and just they brought out different instruments, and they were like tossing their drumsticks back and forth, and it was a blast. Just an amazing show. I really enjoyed Alice, and I'll be listening to them in the future. Next up is the artist Stoneburner, and this is a project of the artist Stephen Archer, who was a member of the band Ego Likeness, who I had seen the previous night. And this was less of a music set and more of a performance art. As you can see, he's in this wolf costume with like lights in the eyes and all kinds of crazy stuff. I really didn't know what I was seeing at first. It was really cool. And he was singing politically charged protest songs with these images in the background that were just flashing, and it was just a whole performance. You just had to take it all in. And then he brings out this homemade instrument which looks like a combination of a guitar and a synthesizer. It was easily one of the most unique and creative performances of the entire festival. In the main ballroom, we had System Sin, and this is an industrial rock group that shares some of the same members as the band Alice. And they were just a really great sounding band. Here we can see the singer wrapping the microphone cord around his neck. Please don't try that at home, kids. But System Sin was really good. I recommend them to fans of industrial rock or dark wave. Next up is a band called Then Comes Silence from Stockholm, Sweden. And this is a good traditional Gothic rock band. And I say that to sort of differentiate them from the industrial acts that were really prominent at this festival. Whereas industrial is more of an electronic music genre, this is Gothic rock with a low bass line, the atmospheric guitars, and gloomy vocals. It's the type of music that really made me love goth music in general. If you're into old school goth bands like Sisters of Mercy, I think you would really enjoy Then Comes Silence. This next artist is known as Das Ich from Germany, and I probably pronounced that wrong. And they're a very loud, intense industrial group, and you can look at them, just check out those costumes. They look like demons or something. It was really amazing. My footage wasn't the best of this band, but they put on a great performance. I was not at all disappointed. This next band is a band that I was really looking forward to seeing going into this festival. The band is called A Starry Night, and their music is just so good. I love it so much. They play atmospheric gothic rock with what I would describe as a David Bowie-inspired vocal style. Many of the early goth bands took inspiration from David Bowie, and I think this band sort of continues in that tradition. Just incredible vocals, incredible music. I was just getting chills all over my body listening to it. I think if you're a fan of old school goth bands like Bauhaus or Christian Death, I think you would really enjoy A Starry Night's music. They are just a good, solid gothic rock band. They do what they do so well. And just the lighting, the fog machine, everything was just on point. It just created just such a great atmosphere to see this band play. And as I said before, the band's sets were overlapping, and I had to leave their show a little bit early, and I think I missed a song or two because another band that I had came to see was playing already in the other room. And that brings us to Vision Video. This is a band that is becoming incredibly popular. It's fronted by a man named Dusty, who's nicknamed Goth Dad, and he's gained notoriety by posting on TikTok and Instagram all these funny little skits and things. He's led a very interesting life. He's an Afghanistan war veteran, he's a former firefighter, and he's very outspoken in his anti-war and anti-political corruption views. They play gothic rock that I think is very reminiscent of 80s bands like The Cure and The Smiths, so if you're a fan of those bands, I think you would really enjoy Vision Video's music. I think if you like 80s rock in general, you will really like Vision Video. They played several of their signature songs, as well as a cover of Just Like Heaven by The Cure. And as a treat for the fans, they played a song called I Love Cats, which is a song about why cats are better than humans. It's really funny, you gotta listen to it. Vision Video is quickly becoming a big sensation, and I am a big fan of them. And that brings us to Kanga, who gave us what I think was the best performance of the whole festival. I walk into the room after watching Vision Video play, and I can't really see what's going on up front at the stage. There was a big crowd of people in front of me. But I can hear the music, and it's this really dark and intense techno-industrial music, and she's singing over it, and her voice just really sounds great. And I guess she was having some sort of technical issue up on stage, and she just kind of got fed up and just jumped into the crowd and started performing, right up in everyone's faces. It was a legendary moment. And she just brought this energy like I have never seen anyone do in my entire life. She just hyped up the crowd so much, and she destroyed the whole place. It's moments like this one that make going to see live music so worthwhile. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event, seeing something spontaneous like this happen, and if you're there for it, then you're there for it. When you hear people talk about it in the future, you have that feeling that you saw it yourself. do not sleep on Kanga. She is incredible. Go listen to her music. Go give her your support. She's just an incredible artist, an incredible performer. I have never seen anyone do what she did. So after that, I needed to replenish my energy, so I went to the food trucks and I got a bowl of macaroni and cheese with bacon on top. It was really good. And as I was walking back in, I bumped into a friend of mine. And look who I bumped into. It's my friend Michael from Epic Exploration. I'm sure you might have seen his videos. He does urbex exploring, a lot of stuff. He's in New Jersey. He's a good buddy of mine, so it's good to see you here.
Great to see you here, Ray.
Good to see you. You enjoying the music, the bands?
Oh, this is one of my favorite events every year.
Yeah.
People are friendly, so much going on. I love it.
Yeah, and so you've been to all of these so far.
Yes.
Yes.
All the dark forces.
Nice.
And the castle.
Yeah. I mean, where a better place than a Gothic castle to have a Gothic festival?
Yeah, if you like dark electronic, Goth music, this is the place to be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm having a blast. I definitely would like to come next year. Tried to make it last year, but I couldn't, so... Well, it's good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you. Back to the music, we have Augur from the UK. The music was sort of electronic rock with deep baritone vocals. I almost got a Depeche Mode vibe from his music. It was a really emotional performance, and the crowd was really feeling it. Really good stuff from Augur. Next up is a group known as Rabbit Junk. And it's kind of hard to describe their music. It's electronic, but it has rock guitars and just very intense sound, but just upbeat and fun. It was just very hype music. It had the energy of almost like an EDM show, and the people were going nuts for it. They performed a cover version of the song The Metro by 80s new wave band Berlin. You may be noticing a trend of how many of these artists perform 80s covers. The influence of 80s music on the groups playing at this festival is undeniable. Being a lover of 80s music and just 80s stuff in general, I think that's why the goth scene appeals to me so much, because that's sort of where these influences have found their home in modern day. And finishing off the night was Stabbing Westward. And if you grew up in the 90s, then you probably remember this band. They had a popular mainstream hit with the song Save Yourself. I never really thought of their music as being gothic music. I thought of it as just more of like a general alternative band, but I guess it really does fit the vibe because they do sort of have that industrial edge and a hard rock sound. And they gave a killer performance. You can just see just the raw emotional energy he puts into his singing. They sounded great. It was a fantastic show. However, there were some technical difficulties, and at one point they kind of had to stop the show and figure things out. He stepped up there and performed an entire song a cappella, and just everyone in the room was getting chills from it. It was just one of those amazing the show must go on moments, and it was magical to be there and experience it. Alrighty, so that wraps up night 2 of Dark Force Fest. I saw so many fantastic artists. I can't even name them all right now. I am very tired. I'm going to go home and rest up, and we have one more night, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'll see you then. Alrighty, so we are on day 3 of Dark Force Fest. I made it through the first 2 nights. Wasn't sure if I was going to be lasting this long. I don't usually stay out and party like this. I'm getting a little older, and I don't do this very often anymore, but I had a blast the past 2 nights, and tonight's gonna be great again, so let's see what happens. Also, today is Robert Smith's birthday, and I'm wearing a shirt with his face on it. So happy birthday, Robert Smith of The Cure. I love you so much. Alright, kicking off day 3 is Ava X. She's an industrial dance artist with a science fiction, robot, cyborg sort of thing going on. She gave a great high-energy performance, and she performed a cover of the song Twisted Transistor by Korn. I was definitely not expecting to hear that. Next up was a band called Metamorph, fronted by singer and flutist Margot Day. She's formerly of an 80s death rock band known as The Plague. Now, The Plague is a band that I enjoy pretty often. They're a little bit lesser known, but they play some good, spooky, gothic rock. I kind of like them around Halloween. A lot of songs about vampires and things like that. It was an honor and a privilege to see one of the original founding artists of the genre perform. And next up is Danny Blue, who is a Gothic industrial pop singer, something I never thought I would see. He played some high-energy, danceable songs. He played a couple, sort of love ballads, songs about heartbreak, and he had a choreographed backup dance routine. It was really crazy, and it was just very refreshing to see such a unique take on the different genres of music. I had listened to his music prior to going to the festival, and I enjoyed it, but I did not realize it was going to be such a performance like this one, and it just goes to show that the organizers of this event did a lot of work to not only get great performers for this event, but just a great variety of performances. You know, you had rock bands, you had DJs, and then you have just a synchronized dance routine. It was almost like a Gothic Lady Gaga show, if that makes sense at all. But Danny Blue was awesome. I'll be looking forward to more from him. Following that was Oberer Totpunk, and I probably said that wrong. They played industrial music with rhythmic chanting, all in German. And it was just a lot of fun. They just seemed like they were really nice people, and you could tell that they were having a great time up on stage. At one point, they stopped and struck poses so that people could take pictures of them. After that was a band called October Noir, a band whose sound has taken a lot of influence from the band Typo Negative. This guy sounded exactly like Peter Steele. He even looked like Peter Steele and had the same New York accent. I felt like Peter Steele had been brought back to life. They played original songs as well as a cover of Wicked Game by Chris Isaak, and they finished off with a cover of Love You to Death by Typo Negative. It was a great tribute to an artist who left us too soon, and it made me just miss him even more. So if you're a Typo Negative fan, you definitely want to check out October Noir. Next up on the main stage, we have a band that really brought a lot in terms of theatrics. They're known as Priest, and they're an industrial rock band, and they have these insane costumes. The singer has on this leather outfit that's studded in spikes, and he's wearing some sort of black skull mask with a glowing red eye, and the other guys had these black crow masks on. It made me think that they were sort of like an evil version of Daft Punk or something like that. And it was just a wild show. It was a wild experience. Just everything about it was over the top. The guys' movements, the singing, the music was just epic. At one point, he walked out into the audience and started laying hands on people. It was very strange, but it was awesome. This next band is known as I Scintilla, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. And while they weren't as big of a spectacle as some of the bands playing at this festival, they certainly weren't lacking in talent. The singer just had an incredibly powerful voice and just gave a very raw and emotional performance. Their sound was more of a heavier industrial rock, not quite so much gloomy and gothic. Check out I Scintilla, you won't be disappointed. And now we come to a band that I was really looking forward to seeing, Crew Lies. I would describe their music as being sort of dreamy post-punk. And their performance was just so good. The music was just so enchanting, and the lighting, the atmosphere, everything was on point. It's just the type of music that you hear and you just feel chills all over your body. They're just so good. I can't really put it into words how good their music is. You just kind of have to listen to it and experience it for yourself. I was a fan of them before I went to see them, and I was completely blown away by their performance. It was just an amazing moment. I think if you like The Cure, or New Order, or Cocteau Twins, you'd really enjoy Crew Lies. And I'd also say that they're another band that if you're put off by the idea of goth music, to go check them out anyway. I think their music is just very accessible to pretty much anyone. It's just good music. And we have reached the final performance of this 3-day-long festival, a band known as the Cruxshadows. This is a band with a completely unique sound and style. It's a 6-piece band with 2 violinists, synth, keyboard, and electric guitar. And as you can see, it's an incredibly over-the-top show. They definitely give a great performance. At one point during the show, he walks through the crowd and climbs up on a ladder and sings a few songs while standing perched on top of it. So I made it through all 3 days of the festival, and I want to leave you with some of my final thoughts, and then I'm going to show you my Dark Force Fest haul. So what did I think of Dark Force Fest? I had an absolute blast. It was an amazing time. Every artist I saw was just incredible. Everybody gave a great performance. A very diverse group of musicians, a very varied lineup. So even if you're not necessarily into goth music, there's all kinds of different stuff, from like punk to metal to dance music. It was just a really great experience to be able to come and see all these different artists. If I can complain about one thing about this event, and I mean this constructively, is that all the sets of the artists were back to back. So if there was any sort of delay, the sets would overlap. So if you wanted to see two artists that were playing in one would be playing in one room, the other would be playing in the other room, they'd be playing at the same time. And that kind of got frustrating because I was trying to see as much as possible. And at one point, two bands that I came to see, A Starry Night and then Vision Video, I had to leave A Starry Night set early to get into see Vision Video. So I didn't get to see the full set of either artist. So that was disappointing. I know technical difficulties come into play. I'm not an event organizer, so I don't necessarily know all the logistics of these things, but if I can complain about one thing about this event, that would be the thing. But other than that, amazing time, amazing people I met and talked to. Just, it's a very free, welcoming environment. Everyone is so lovely and nice. So if you're thinking about going, don't be put off by that. Also, we don't get good things like this in New Jersey. That made me incredibly happy to have an event like this in New Jersey, my home state, and so close to where I live. I didn't get a room, I just drove back and forth each night. So that was really wonderful. You know, all these good music events, especially like alternative music like this one, not a lot of them in New Jersey, not a lot of them in the East Coast. There was a bunch out in California that I would have loved to have seen, but you know, it's hard to fly out and find the time to do all that. So if you're on the East Coast, check out Dark Force Fest. I know a lot of people drove in, people flew from different states, different countries, so that was really wild to see all that. So I had a blast at Dark Force Fest, and I'm very glad I came, and I will definitely be trying to make it to the next year's event and events in the future. Alrighty, I want to show you my haul from Dark Force Fest. I got this stuff here from artist Matt Lynham. He's known for making pop art featuring 80s new wave musicians and goth musicians like that. I got this Fascination Street banner with Robert Smith of The Cure, one of my all-time favorite bands. And I got these are actually Valentine sheets featuring different 80s artists, and we have like Susie Sue, the B-52s, Mark Allman from Soft Cell. Over here we have Andrew Eldridge from Sisters of Mercy, Annie Lennox, Nick Cave, Kate Bush. Really fun stuff. Be sure to check out his art. It's very cool. Down here is just some like flyers and banners. This was like the little guidebook you got. This was the wristband, and you know, I just like to save stuff like that whenever I go to an event. I got some business cards from the bands. I got this sticker from a friend I made there. Very sweet. Over here, I got some pins, or as I like to call them, pieces of flair. We have these for the band Night. Spooky Cat, really neat. Over here we have some for Vision Video. I saw this bumper sticker and I just thought it was really funny. I learned all of my ANSI warning pictures and .hazmat placard signs from industrial music album covers. That's funny to me because I operate machinery at my job and I see stuff like this all day. And this is from Obsidian Oddities, LLC. I just want to give them a shout out. And over here I got some t-shirts. I got this one for Crew Lies, and this is just a beautiful design. I love that band, and I'm going to look really cool when I wear this. And over here I got a sticker from them. And I got this really neat Vision Video shirt with this cool sort of like half skull, half face of Goth Dad. And let me just show you the detail on that. Look at all that spooky stuff coming out of his face. Really neat. So I had such a blast at Dark Force Fest, and I just cannot wait for the next one. It was a great time.